To wrap up the blog, we'll show you how you can integrate this presented tech stack with your GitHub CI/CD. First things would be to create the GitHub workflows directory. So let's get to that. And then awesome. So now that that's been created, we just create the ci.yaml file. Before we paste anything in the ci.yaml file, I want to point out that you'll need to set up your GitHub environment, and that environment will need two secrets. One would be your Anthropic API key, and the other one would be your Native Link API key. And then you'll need three variables. Those variables have to do with your remote caching address, where are your build events streamed, and where are your build events stored. All of this is contained in your Bazel RC. You just need to input the code there. And once you have that set up, we just copy this code and we paste it, and you're almost done. Let me walk you through the code first. So this workflow gets triggered on pushes and pull requests to and from the main branch. It runs on Ubuntu. First, it checks out the repository. It sets up Basellist, which is just a wrapper for Bazel. It enables caching. In case you forgot to make the shell scripts of this repository an executable, this takes care of that. And then it sets up the environment with the API keys. And this is basically just from just like the Bazel RC file, and then execute the tests. Now, when it comes to the tests, I divided them into three categories. Well, we needed only two categories initially, where there would be tests that don't need any command line flags, which constitute the majority of our tests, and then the one test for the command line interface tool that we built that needs at least one command line argument to work with. So we just decided to split it into two categories initially. This is where we specify the argument for the complete agent test target. The only reason that the cache manager test is separate is because cache manager test and training test read and write from the same location, which can sometimes create race conditions. So these two can't be run simultaneously. And the last thing that you need to know is that it would be best if you provide your own Docker image that you've been using for this project repository so far, because this project has a lot of dependencies which will slow your workflow down. You can, of course, continue using the Docker image that we've made free to use for this project. And that's it.